Kids don't forget.
Kids don't forget.
You kids don't forget.
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 Kids don't forget. Kids don't forget.
Corey, what it do?
What's going on, baby?
How you feeling? I'm good. I'm happy and excited that you are here.
Thanks a lot, man. Happy, excited myself, man.
So did I say your name correctly?
Yup, Corey.
Has it ever been mispronounced in the history of your life?
Nah.
Never.
Nah, it's quite simple to keep it Corey, man.
That's excellent that you don't have a name like I do, like Khalid, that gets mispronounced Khalid, Khalil, all day, every day. Kaylee, Kylie. Corey, it's almost impossible to mispronounce it.
Almost impossible.
So you've never had to deal with the torture and the agony, right? Okay. Well, what were some of your nicknames growing up?
Cook, Cordoz, Maxwell. They call me by my last name, so.
Okay.
For the most part, those three.
Those three. Who called you Cook?
People where I grew up at.
People where you grew up. Okay. Okay. Who called you Cordoz?
Was, I used to rap.
Okay.
Still do here and there, so that was like my rap name, and people in the entertainment world call me that name. And Maxwell is like more so my family name. You know, people that went to school with me, you know you by your last name, first name, so.
Okay.
Those names.
So you just said that people who call you Cook, if somebody calls you Cook, you like if you were in like Des Moines, Iowa right now, as you at the airport at a layover, somebody was like, or you might be there, somebody was like, yo, Cook, you know instantly that's somebody from your hood.
Absolutely.
Where are you from?
I'm from Camden, New Jersey.
Okay, do you claim a specific neighborhood?
Yes.
Okay, what neighborhood are you from?
Ablett Village Projects.
Ablett Village Projects, which is in?
Camden.
In East Camden. Would you consider that East or North Camden?
Man, it's tough to say.
Okay.
It's like literally, I'm literally away, probably 2-3 minutes away from each bridge that'll get me to certain sections of Camden. So
okay,
it's just hard to say, you know. That's why we always say consider it AV.
Okay, yeah. So Ablett Village, just call it AV. What was how would you describe AV growing up?
Man, I grew up in the early '80s, and you know, AV is just like any other projects in Camden or you know any other urbanized place. Pretty rough. It was more so you know, projects like when you're in the projects, everybody knows who everybody is, so
right.
More so family oriented. And,
okay.
It was pretty good.
Now, when you say it was pretty rough, what do you mean?
Oh man, you know, it's seeing certain things that you ain't supposed to see at an early age, you know, or in life, period. You know what I mean?
Right. Example.
You know, drugs, prostitution, things of those natures. So it's pretty rough, man.
Okay.
Pretty rough.
With that being said, did you ever feel unsafe in your own neighborhood?
At times, yeah.
Okay.
At times, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Were you an only child?
No. I had a brother and a sister I grew up with.
Okay. So you grew up with them. So I want you to, are you the oldest, the youngest, or in the middle?
Middle child.
You're the middle child. Okay. Okay. Question. So I want you to imagine that you are 10 years old. If you're 10 years old, how old are your siblings?
If I'm 10, sister's gotta be, she's the youngest, so I wanna say she's about maybe 2.
Okay.
My brother's probably about 18.
Wow, so you're you're perfectly in the middle. Your brother's 8 years older than you are, and you're 8 years older than your little sister.
Yep.
Interesting. So what was that like growing up?
Man.
You're a true middle child, like no jokes.
How was that growing up? I want to say it was different, man. Kind of complicated at times, you know what I mean? I didn't really have a brother that was close to me in age, so you know
right.
That age bracket is pretty different, you know what I mean? And little sister, she's way younger than me too, so it's like, you know, kind of like growing up by yourself, but not growing up by yourself.
Right.
If that makes any sense.
It makes a lot of sense.
You know, but that age bracket is pretty difficult.
When you're in the street and it's really time for it to go down, you really don't have anybody.
Nah, absolutely.
Your older brothers.
My older brother, they're gonna be like, well, your brother too big to be.
Right. Like he all old.
And little sister, you know what I mean? Like I can't play with her. Like first of all, she's a girl, you know what I mean?
Right.
And then the age bracket, you know, so it's kind of like difficult, you know. It's kind of like growing up by yourself, but like I said, it's kind of like not growing up by yourself. You know what I mean?
Right. So you were kind of like an only child, but not an only child.
Right. If it makes sense. But
Does that mean that you were spoiled, or did you feel slighted, or like looking back, how what do you think?
I kind of felt slighted.
Slighted, right?
You kind of feel slighted.
Because you weren't spoiled because you were the youngest. You were the youngest at one point.
Right.
Okay.
Absolutely. For a while, I was the youngest.
Right.
Actually.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, it was kind of different, you know. Kind of felt slighted, you know, but it worked out.
Okay.
It wasn't too bad.
Did you grow up with both parents?
No.
So did you live with either your mom or your dad?
Lived with my mother.
Live with your mother. Okay.
Father was always present, but you know, lived with my mother.
Did you ever live with both parents?
No.
Never.
Not to my knowledge. Maybe, let me rephrase that. I think my mom said I was about 3 when my dad left.
Okay.
About 3. So, but I don't have a remembrance of that. But,
Let me ask you this question. Now looking back, now that you're a grown man, do you feel like that affected you personally with your dad?
Absolutely.
Oh, how so?
Yeah. Your mother has to raise you, and as they say, your mother can't raise a man.
Right.
You know, they can try their best to, which she did. You know what I mean? But ultimately, not growing up with a dad definitely affects you, man. Definitely affects you. Gotta learn how to pee straight by yourself. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
You know, just figuring out man things. You know what I mean? Had to figure that out pretty much by myself, or you know, looking to other people that had dads. You know, other relatives. You know what I mean? That might have been close to me. You know, as far as like uncles, leaned on them a little bit. And like I said, you know, just other males that were present in my life.
You got any males you want to give a shout out? Like any of the uncles?
Yeah, I give a shout out to my dad, man. Absolutely, because it was rough for him. You know what I mean?
Right.
To raise a kid that, you know, he wasn't in the same house as. You know, so I'll give a shout out to my dad. For
What was your dad's name?
My dad's name is Martin Maxwell.
Okay.
They called him Maxwell as well, like they called me, or Max for short.
Okay. And what's your mom's name?
My mom's name is Sheila, but she was called Cookie for my whole life.
Shout out to Aunt Cookie and Mr. Martin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. Shout out to those.
What was your relationship with both of them? So before you answer that question, you live with your mother, but your dad was always present. How often would you say you saw him? Was it daily? Was it weekly? Once a month?
Probably on a once a month basis, you know.
Okay.
Or whenever my mom would call him when I was showing off.
Right.
You know,
You gotta be on the phone with your dad.
Absolutely. Or he would show up. You know what I mean? Like I say, he was always present.
He would randomly show up. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because my dad, you know, I grew up, like I said, in the projects. So,
Right.
my dad was like the foreman of the housing projects in Camden. So,
Really?
I seen my dad. Yeah, I seen my dad a lot, man.
Okay.
I seen my dad a lot. Yeah.
How would you? So you picked the one that you want to start with. How would you describe your relationship with both of your parents?
I'll describe my relationship with my mother first.
How was your relationship with her growing up?
Pretty rough. You know, like I said, a woman raising a young male in an urbanized community is pretty rough, man. Pretty rough. But for the most part, my mom was always, like I said, always in my life. So I really don't have no bad complaints, man. I was raised in a good house. You know what I mean? As far as living in Camden, where it was rough at, you know, like I said, early '80s. You know, the crack era is definitely taking off. So it was okay, man. It was okay. It was rough, but it was okay.
Okay.
It was okay. Yep.
How would you describe your relationship with your pop?
Relationship with my pops it's the same. You know, like I said, he wasn't present every day. You know what I mean? But he was present. You know, so I always had his number. He always had mine. You know what I mean? Like I said, I seen him. He seen me, and it was that.
Okay. Now, you said that your dad was very quiet, like Michael Jackson quiet. Didn't really talk much.
To this day, I'm 40 years old. I never heard my dad raise his voice.
Ever.
Never heard. And people that know my dad say they never heard my dad raise his voice, man. Like, my dad is always a low-key, quiet guy.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And you said that your mom and you and your mom butt heads a lot because, for the most part, because you were hard-headed.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. But nothing on her part, man. It was me, man. Knucklehead. You know, just growing up, like I said, in Camden, in the projects, in early '80s. You know, I was a knucklehead, man. I was a knucklehead.
Hear that. Did you ultimately become a parent?
Absolutely.
Yourself?
I
Okay.
became a parent at the age of 20.
How many beautiful seeds do you have?
I was blessed biologically to have 3 kids, and I fathered 2 others.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are their age ranges?
Rest in peace to my stepdaughter. She passed. She would be, I want to say, about 24 right now.
Okay. Condolences, by the way.
Thank you. My firstborn, she's 20.
Okay.
My secondborn is 16 right now, and my youngest is 8. And when I met my wife, I'm married, she was 7 months pregnant. So my son is 18 right now.
All right, so let's talk about that. Now that you became a parent, you know how your parents raised you because you were there. What would you say are some similarities and differences between your parents' parenting style with you and your parenting style?
I would like to say the similarities are present as far as like my mom was with me, with my kids. I was kind of rough on my kids, you know, making sure that they did the right thing because I did the wrong things at times. So
Okay.
I learned a lot from my mom. As far as parenting goes, like I said, I'm always in my kids' faces and their business. You know what I mean? I want to be in my kids' life as much as possible and know what they're doing on a daily basis because it's hard parenting. Nobody has a manual on parenting. So I want to say I learned a lot from my mom. I learned a lot from my dad too. You know?
Okay. Okay.
It's for the most part, you know, my dad was quiet, so he never really raised his voice. So I try to, you know, take each thing from, you know, different parents. You know.
So you're not a yeller?
Yeah, I'm a yeller, but I try to rationalize. You know, I keep it, you know, copacetic.
Got it. What are some differences?
Differences, I want to say, I'm more, I want to say, low key than what my mom was.
Okay.
You know, my mom, you know, it was hard. Like I said, raising a boy in the urbanized community in Camden. So, you know, like I said, some of the differences, you know, I try not to yell as much. My mom was a yeller because I was a knucklehead, but I don't yell as much. That's basically it, the only difference.
Okay. Now, speaking of growing up in the hood, bet you don't remember all the schools you went to.
Absolutely remember all the schools.
Okay, let's go. Kindergarten, go.
Kindergarten, I want to say I went to Powell.
Okay,
It's
K
not
through
there.
what?
K through 5th grade.
Okay. And Powell isn't there anymore?
Nah, it was
Okay.
on 10th and Linden in Camden.
Where's 10th and Linden?
North Camden.
North Camden,
Yup,
okay.
It's like a police substation right now.
It got converted to a police substation. How far did you walk to school?
Yes.
How far a walk was it?
Maybe 15 minutes at the most.
Okay.
At the most.
Okay. Now, you are from AV, Ablett Village. Do you have to walk through another neighborhood to get to school?
North Camden.
You have to walk through North Camden. Okay. What was that experience? What was it like walking back and forth through North Camden through a hood that's not yours? And what was your elementary experience like, if you recall?
Elementary, early 80s. That was pretty cool, man. It was pretty cool. But walking through North Camden, that's different. It was different.
How so?
We talking early 80s to the about 91.
Okay.
It's 5th grade. That was rough. We talking about gangs. Gangs heavily populated Camden in that era. You got Fruit Posse, Sons of Malcolm X. That's legendary.
Right.
That was rough.
The Sons of Malcolm X was a legendary North Camden gang.
Absolutely.
In fact, the rumor was, and it might be true, it might not be a rumor, was that in order to get into the Sons of Malcolm X, you had to kill somebody.
Yeah, that was what I heard. Yeah, it was rough, man. They, you know, killed people randomly, man. That was different, man.
Right.
It was different. It was rough. It was rough. Walking through North Camden in the early 80s, and to the 90s. Crack valves, killings. I seen my first dead body, I want to say, in about the 5th grade.
Okay.
And that was, from the Sons of Malcolm X, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, it was different.
And this was walking to or from school?
This was after school, so I seen it actually after school.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So you finish at Powell
School in 91, and from there I went to Pine Point.
Okay.
Pine Point.
Where's Pine Point?
And that's in North Camden.
That's also in North Camden. Okay. What was your Pine Point experience like?
I went there 1 year, 6th grade.
6th grade. Okay.
It was pretty good, because I knew all the people from going to elementary school in North
Okay.
Camden.
So everybody from Powell went to Pine Point.
So I
Okay.
knew pretty much everybody there. It was
Okay.
cool.
So it was kind of like the same for you. How far was it? Is Pine Point from Powell?
5 minutes.
Oh, really? Okay. So it's the same walk. Okay.
Absolutely.
Got it. So you only did 6th grade at Pine Point.
From there, I transferred to Kramer Hill section of Camden, and that was Veterans Memorial Middle School.
Why did you transfer? Do you remember?
Wanted to.
You wanted to?
Yeah.
Why?
Wanted to, all of the people I grew up with in Ablett Village went to Kramer Hill School, so they went to vets.
So how did you go to Pine Point?
Just that was the school that Powell School went to Pine Point. So,
Okay.
But like I said, it was a couple minute walk, so I was close to Vets Middle School as well. So I asked my mom, "Can I go there?" And she.
Because the rest of all your boys from the hood were
Right.
going to vets.
Right. Yep.
Okay, got it. So you get the vets, and it's not just the kids from AV in North Camden anymore.
Nah.
All right, so what
Camden
neighborhoods
kids,
go to vets?
East Camden kids, Kramer Hill kids.
East Camden and Kramer Hill kids.
Yep.
Okay, so now it's not just the kids that you know anymore. It's a whole set of new kids.
Yeah, that was different.
What was that experience
That
like?
was different.
And this is 7th, 8th grade? Mm-hmm. Okay.
I had to fit in. I had to fit in up there. It was different. North Camden and Kramer Hill, two different entities in Camden.
How so?
I want to say Kramer Hill was not as rough as North Camden was, but it was pretty rough, but not as rough as North Camden.
Did you have to deal with any teams and
Yeah, absolutely.
who did you have to deal with?
I'm from a project, and
Right.
Kramer Hill is more so like a section of Camden. So,
Right.
That kind of clashed. I had to.
I interviewed somebody else, and they who was from Kramer Hill. They said they had to deal with 32nd Street, and they called themselves Trey
Trey
Deuce.
Deuce.
Right.
Trey Deuce,
So Trey Deuce does in fact exist.
Yeah. But I want to say that was pretty easy for me because people from AV affiliated with Kramer Hill people, so I had a green light.
Okay.
What you would call it in growing up in the urbanized and
Right.
urbanized community, you get a green light.
So you ain't have any problems with Trey Deuce?
Not at all.
Okay.
I knew him.
Okay. So was Trey Deuce the main team there?
In Kramer Hill, absolutely. Yes,
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So it was Trey Deuce and AV. Okay. So with that being said, once you got past the social aspect of it, how was it academically? How were you doing in school?
I want to say about a C average kid.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I couldn't stand math. Never could catch math. But other than that, I was pretty decent in school.
So 9 times out of 10, excuse me, the C average students, they can do other stuff. So it's like, if you take a class of, let's say a class of 20 kids, or when you're from the hood, a class of 30 kids. So you got your 5 kids in the class who are just naturally smart. You could put them in any
CHIPS
environment.
program. You remember CHIPS program?
I do remember. I was in it. I was in the CHIPS program.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
I wanted to be a part of that. 'Cause it wasn't good enough. But I had people that, like you said, the 5 or 6 that were smart. They academically.
They could go anywhere.
Yeah.
And excel.
Yep. They were
You-
called AT kids, right?
Okay, right.
Academically talented. Yep.
So you got those 5 in every class, no matter in America. Then you got it's a 30-kid class, so 25 kids left. Then you got the bottom 5 who really don't care about school. Period. You always got those 5
I fluctuated from that 5 to the middle.
to the middle. So let's talk about the kids in the middle. The kids in the middle are like that B-, D+ students. The kids in the middle, they typically do other stuff. Like you got the one kid in your class who's a great artist.
Mm-hmm.
You got the one kid in your class who loves to work on cars. You got the one girl in your class who loves to do hair. You got the 2 or 3 kids in the class who are in the band. You got the kid in the class who wants to
Basketball, athletic.
the athletes, the basketball players, the track stars, the kids in the middle. The kid you know is going to wind up being a janitor, which is fine, which is fine. Just someday try to own that janitorial company.
Right.
You got everybody else in the middle. The kid who's going to be a manager at McDonald's or Walmart. What was it that you liked to do?
I was the sport kid.
You were into sports?
And I liked to rap.
Okay.
I started rapping in 5th grade.
Okay.
And that kind of like do that now to this
So
day.
you started rapping in 5th grade. Who did you try to pattern yourself after? Any of the MCs that were famous?
Dougie Fresh.
Really?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep, that's my favorite rapper besides Jay-Z. Dougie Fresh is like the greatest entertainer. Anybody familiar with rap music will tell you that. So I wanted to be him. You know what I mean?
You wanted to be Dougie Fresh.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Entertaining the crowd. You know? I was pretty popular growing up, so.
So you love to beatbox, get your rap on. You kind of honed your craft in middle school.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you graduate from Vets.
Didn't graduate, did summer school, but yeah, I got promoted.
All right, you get promoted. You get promoted from Vets, and you go where?
Woodrow Wilson High School. That's in East Camden.
That's in East Camden.
Yep.
Now, is Woodrow Wilson a whole nother world from Vets?
Absolutely, absolutely. You're going from middle school to high school. Now that's dealing with Kramer Hill kids, East Camden kids. You know, some people lived in Pennsauken but used Camden addresses.
Okay.
So I'm dealing with, you know, a couple people from Pennsauken. So
North Camden?
North Camden, East Camden, Kramer Hill, you know, that was like a high school. So
Right.
dealing with different sections of Camden, period, all in one high school.
Now,
And
and
at
you
that
were
time-
from the Ablett Village projects in, let's say, East Camden. There's other projects in East Camden.
You got the Westfield Acre projects.
Okay.
Rough. You got the McGuire projects. It's pretty rough. Camden was rough, man.
Got
Camden
it.
was rough. Anybody that knows Camden to this day is still rough. So, you know, it was different housing projects and different streets. You know?
Right.
Different streets. You know what I mean?
So when you get to Wilson, you have based on other people I've interviewed. So you got the Kramer Hill kids, the 32nd Street kids, Trey Deuce. Then you got the 29th Street kids.
32nd Street kids in East Camden.
Right.
So you had two 32nd Streets. You got 32nd Street section, and that was in Kramer Hill. You got 32nd Street that was in East Camden.
Right.
So,
you got the Moore Street kids,
Moore
the
Street,
Fruit Posse.
yeah, absolutely, man.
You got
unknown, different gangs, man.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and you guys are AV.
It
Okay.
was like its own entity, man. Like its own entity. Like
So-
we got respect where we went in high school.
Okay. So
It was pretty
you didn't have too many problems.
Not too many. I had one in the 9th grade, and that was pretty much it.
What was your high school experience like overall?
High school was fun. You know what I mean? I didn't really go to class, man. Like I was a little knucklehead, man. So I was cutting, you know, partaking in, you know, which would be considered bad activities in high school. You know what I mean? Not going to school, so I'm in the streets. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Knucklehead, you know, cutting class, experimenting with, you know, smoking marijuana back then.
Right. So if you're not going to school, where are you?
And literally in the streets, you know what I mean? Ducking truancy officers, you know what I mean? I'm at the pizza store, was known as Torelli's then. A different name now, I think that might be the, what is called the hamburger something, I forgot.
Okay.
But it's not the Torelli's anymore. But I was there playing the arcade games, you know, smoking weed, buying pizza, you know what I mean? Interacting with the East Camden people that I was meeting in high school. So
Okay,
it was,
okay.
It was pretty different.
Interesting. So do you graduate from Wilson?
No, I dropped out 12th grade year. I got kicked out actually.
For what?
Knucklehead, you know, not showing up to class. You know, being a knucklehead, man. So I was doing different things, you know what I mean? Like I said, cutting class, interrupting people's class, you know, just being a knucklehead, man.
Okay.
Being a knucklehead.
Okay. Would you attribute some of that to your dad not being there?
Yeah, and just wanting to fit in, you know, just wanting to fit in with the, you know, the crowd that was doing the knucklehead.
Okay, okay. And then you get separated from them when you get kicked out.
Went to Fetters, man. Fetters was like gladiator school, man.
Wait, so what is Fetters?
That's like the alternative school. You know what I mean? When you do bad things, you get shipped to the bad school.
So the whole Camden goes to Fetters?
Absolutely.
Well, the kids, they got kicked out.
You can be from anywhere in Camden.
Okay.
And if you got sent to that alternative school, because that was the only alternative school, I think that and I think they called it the Skill Center.
Okay.
Over there in Parkside,
Right.
behind Camden High.
Right.
So yeah, it was those two schools. And
So what was Fetters like?
gladiator school. That's what it was referred to as, gladiator school. You had different kids, you know, doing different things. You know what I mean? They might have got kicked out from fighting, might have been kicked out from being truant in school. You know, just different kids from different parts of the city, all in one small school. And it wasn't even a school; they transformed it into a school. It was more so like a church, and they made that into a school.
So you walked to Wilson.
I walked to Wilson.
How far a walk was that?
I want to say about a 20-minute walk.
20 minutes?
15, 20-minute walk, yeah.
Okay. Did you walk to Fetters?
No, got picked up from a bus.
Where was Fetters?
Fetters was downtown.
Downtown?
3rd and Walnut.
Okay.
Yeah.
And downtown's kind of like the center of the city, so it's easy, well, not easy, but accessible for everybody to get there from all over the city.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So did you graduate from Fetters?
No, I dropped out of Fetters March of my 12th grade year.
In March. Okay. Okay. Did you have problems there?
No.
No problems.
No.
So what led to you not graduating?
Just like I said, knucklehead and wanting to be in the streets, man. I wanted to be in the streets. Didn't have to be in the streets, but wanted to. I was infatuated with that lifestyle.
So you basically did not learn your lesson from Wilson. You just kept doing what you were doing at Fetters.
Yep.
In fact, now you with, at least at Wilson, it's probably like half knuckleheads or like a small person, like 10% knuckleheads, and the rest of the school was actually trying to learn. At Fetters, it's 100%
Everybody's
knuckleheads.
knucklehead in Fetters. Everybody's knucklehead.
Nobody's really doing their work.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely.
You feel like Fetters was a waste of your time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't learn my lesson. Like I said, I don't want to say that the teachers didn't care. It was just me. You know what I mean? Just wanted to be a knucklehead. I mean, the older you get, the smarter you get.
Right.
And that's where I'm at right now. You know what I mean? I don't want to be a knucklehead anymore. But back then, I wanted to be a knucklehead. So
Did you work in high school?
No.
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 Okay. Okay. So your first job didn't come in your childhood.
I want to 16. I went there for one day. I went to McDonald's. Like, you know what I mean? Most kids, their first job is fast food. So I went there, didn't like it.
Okay.
Didn't go back.
Where was McDonald's?
Cherry Hill Mall.
At the Cherry Hill Mall.
Yep.
Okay. In New Jersey. Mm-hmm. Got it. Let me ask you this question.
Yep.
On a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being the worst ever and 10 being the best possible, how would you personally rate your childhood?
I rate it about a 6, 6.5.
A 6, 6.5.
Yep.
Okay. What would it have took? Should I say taken or took? What would it have taken for you to have said 7 or 8?
Just going to school more.
Going to school more.
Yeah. Being in school more.
Okay.
I had a better childhood.
Yeah, because you said growing up, your lights were never off.
Never off.
Nothing traumatic ever.
Listen, to grow up in the projects, you know what I mean? I want to say I had a great childhood to grow up in the projects. I seen people, you know, parents wasn't present. They were, crack addicts. You know, like I said, lights were never turned off. Mom was always present. Food was always in the refrigerator. You know what I mean? So, but I seen things. You know what I mean? Just growing up in the projects. You know
like what?
I
Like
seen
what?
people with no lights on. You know.
Okay.
I seen people, you know, having to go to other family members' home to get a decent meal, you know what I mean, because their mother was strung out on drugs and stuff like that. Dads wasn't present, you know what I mean. I can count on my hands how many kids had their mom and their dad in the project. Literally, I can count on my hands, man.
Okay. Okay.
That was different.
So the most common thing was kids who live with their mom.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Right. That is common. It was rare if there was a kid who lived with their mom and their dad.
Very rare.
Okay, got it. And you also mentioned you seen people get shot.
Absolutely.
You seen people get stabbed.
Absolutely.
You seen bottles smashed over people's heads.
That's normal. Unfortunately, that was normal.
Normal, right? We just desensitized to it.
Yep.
And as soon as it's over, we just go back to doing what we're doing.
Yep.
Got it. Do you have a worst childhood day or time period that if you could, you would like to forever forget?
Yeah, I had about 2 of them, man.
Okay.
About 2 of them. I'll elaborate on them. like I said, I wanted to be in the streets at that time. Carjack somebody
Oh, wow. Okay.
at the age of 16.
Okay.
Me and two of my friends. I'll leave them nameless.
Right.
Yeah. Took somebody's car while they was in the car. Yeah.
So how'd you do it? Like they were at the light?
Physically.
Was it like Menace to Society?
They were parked at a bar.
Okay.
And we just decided, for whatever reason, we want to take the car, which the car was nothing. I don't know why we did it. We just being knuckleheads, Just
Having nothing else better to do.
nothing else better to do.
Which is part of the problem in the inner city, right?
Mm-hmm.
We always say that if you give the kids something to do, it's less likely that they're going to get in trouble.
Absolutely.
So you're like a living testimony to that.
Living testimony of it, man.
So for no real reason, you guys are like, yo, let's take his car.
Nothing to us. We just said, let's go take his car. For
Okay.
whatever reason.
Okay.
And we did it.
And it turned out ugly. It ended ugly. So what happened?
The car got crashed because neither one of my boys knew how to drive. I didn't know how to drive. We crashed the car. Ultimately got chased and caught by police.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was a different experience. Like I said, we boneheads, man. We did that in the daytime. You know what I mean? No mask, no nothing. Just randomly took somebody's car, man, for no reason. Yeah, we
Did you guys have a gun?
No. Physically took it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the man was sitting in his car. You guys opened the
Minded his own
door.
business. Me and two of my friends, like I said, we walked over there, punched him in his face, and took his car. Dumbest thing I ever did in my life, man. Definitely would like to remove that from my life, but yeah.
Okay.
I did that.
And we apologize for that if the guy is ever watching this.
Absolutely, man. That was just like the dumbest, one of the dumbest things I ever did. In my life.
So you got in a lot of trouble over that.
Could have, but no. My aunt knew the cop, so I didn't have any ramifications, man. That was it was lucky for my aunt to know that cop, put it like that, man.
Got it.
That would have been ugly, man. Can you imagine a 16-year-old, being...
That's a huge charge.
What, man?
First of all, assault.
And like I said, the year that I did it, the very next year, they turned that 25 to life.
Ooh.
The very next year, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So I want to say I did that like 96. I want to say like 97. That was it. You carjack somebody now, you might not even see the daylight again.
Was that a wake-up call for you?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It wasn't the ultimate wake-up call, but it was a wake-up call.
Got it.
Yep.
What was the second incident?
Got caught selling drugs. I was selling weed, marijuana. I was 18. Got caught by the cops. What was called marked money. What the police do is before they go out on their raids, they take a copy of the money that they have in their pocket.
Okay.
Send another undercover cop with that money to make the transaction with whoever's selling the drugs.
Right.
And they raid after they sell the drugs, and ultimately they run down on the person that had the transaction, and they can identify it from the marked money. So,
And it had to be you.
it had to be me, yeah. Wasn't no getting around that one, man. The cop got there, you know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, I got change from somebody, yeah.
Okay.
You got the marked money. This the marked money we had. They showed me the picture of it. Had it in my pocket. I told them I had got change. Well, you got that change. Well, that was your fault for getting that change. So it is what it is. I got incarcerated for that.
Okay.
At the age of 18. Went to jail. 3 days. Got released on reconnaissance.
Okay.
And that was my ultimate wake-up call. Never been to jail after that.
Okay.
Never been to jail.
What was your jail experience like?
That was rough. You know what I mean?
That
Like I
3
said,
days
wanted-
was super rough.
Wanted to be in the streets, and I got what I asked for. You know what I mean? When I got to jail, it was definitely a wake-up call. I'm in there as an 18-year-old kid with grown men. You know what I mean? Some of those dudes in there was in there for murder.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I said, jail don't discriminate. So when you're 18, you're in there with people that was 25, 30 years old. You know what I mean? Ultimately, I'm here with people my age too. You know what I mean? But they're all from different parts of the city. So it was definitely a wake-up call, man.
Okay.
Definitely a wake-up call.
Is there anything that you haven't mentioned that occurred in your childhood that you feel affected your life forever, either negatively or positively?
Dropping out of high school. I dropped out in March of my 12th grade year, and that affected me pretty much for a long time in life. You know what I mean? Because my brother and my sister graduated high school. So,
Okay.
just dropping out of high school was another thing I would like to take back.
What do you feel the effect was?
It was hard to get a job, man.
Okay.
Hard to get a job. Yeah. And psychologically, like I said, when I walk in my mom's house, big picture of my brother's, you know, yearbook picture with him with his cap and gown on, and my sister the same, you know, cap and gown picture, and no picture of me with a cap and gown on. So
Right.
that was different.
If we take your son and stick him inside your 16, 17, or 18-year-old body, will he be able to handle your life?
No,
Not at all.
not at all.
Okay.
Not at all.
Would-
My kids live in the suburbs. I'm in Clementon, New Jersey right now.
Right.
Homeowner, me and my wife. Like I said, if you take my 16-year-old son and put him in my body,
Right.
you know what I mean? I didn't have a dad present. So, you know, like I said, he was in and out of my life. I seen him, he seen me, but in the same household, no. So that would be a different thing for my kids.
It would be a complete culture shock for him.
culture shock.
Got it. Would you say that your kids are having or had a better childhood than you did?
Way better.
Okay, how so?
School
First of all, they don't
system.
live in the projects.
Don't live in the project school system, and ultimately having a mom and a dad present in the household.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, me and my wife are married.
Okay.
So they have.
So they're getting joint parenting.
And dad.
Okay.
In the household.
Okay.
Yep.
What is your overall perception of how your childhood affected your life? Like, who is the man you are today? Who did you become?
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like your childhood molded you into this person, and all the things that happen kind of affect the person you are today?
It definitely affected me growing up. And yes, it molded me into who I am right now. Like I said, I lived and learned from the mistakes that I made in life, and knowing good people. Like I said, I met good people in life, so it definitely molded me into who I am right now. And I wouldn't change that. Wouldn't change that at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Give some advice to blank-year-old you. So,
Blank-year-old me.
with everything that you know today, because we always say that if I could go back,
So basically, you're asking what I say to
a younger version of yourself,
me.
how old would he be, and what would you say to him?
The 18-year-old me. I'll talk to the 18-year-old me.
Okay. What would you say to 18-year-old Corey?
Slow down, be patient, and listen and learn from everybody involved in your life. That's what I would say to the 18-year-old version of me. Slow down, dude. Because growing up, you don't want to rush things. You just want to sulk in that moment. You know what I mean? I wanted to be an adult young, and I didn't have to be. So I would definitely say slow down and be patient to the younger 18-year-old version of me.
Corey, thank you for coming. Appreciate you being here.
Oh man, I appreciate being here, and thank you for having me, man. And hopefully, this be seen by somebody younger than me, and they will take from this. Be patient in life, man. Life goes fast, and just savor the moment.